Hello and welcome to episode 74 of the MTG Conflux cast. My name is Jon, and I'm joined this week by my co-host, Chris.
Hey.
This week we're going to be talking about the aftermath of the recent Modern bannings, as well as the effects of Theros Beyond Death on both Modern and Pioneer. But before we get into the podcast, I want to plug some video content we've been doing. Our YouTube is alive and well again. We're going to be posting a video at least every other week. Basically on the 1 week, we're going to have the podcast, which will go up online, and then we're going to have a non-podcast video the other week on Fridays. So there's going to be a new video, I guess, every week, but it's going to be a non-podcast video every other week. And we're going to be doing a variety of things. We're going to be playing like sweet decks that we're just going to pick up cold and probably play not very well. And then we're going to play with other decks that are more like things that we're experienced with and just do kind of like playthroughs through leagues with, you know, stuff like Amulet or Four Color Snow or things that we're fairly confident with. So we're going to have the more strategic content. We're going to have more of the fun stuff where we just kind of throw it at the wall and see how well we do. But before we get...
burn some tickets.
Yeah, burn some ticks. Set some ticks on fire. I already have one video up from last week. So when you're listening to this, it'll have already been up for a week. I took out the Wargate Titan deck for a spin and did pretty well with it, despite not having any idea what the hell I was doing. So check that one out. There was a bit of a recording issue where it kind of cropped in the screen. Didn't really show the whole... I didn't show my hand, basically, but you could see the battlefield. But missed out on my hand by like a fraction of an inch, unfortunately. But that's going to be fixed in our future videos. This is kind of a one-off. It was the night right before they banned Oko, and by the time I noticed that it had happened, Oko was already banned, so I couldn't do a retake. So I put it up anyways because it was a really fun league. So hopefully you can have the experience like you're watching a GP or something where you can't see the hand and just enjoy me walking through the league.
Yeah, you can pretend like there's still GP coverage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oof. Low blow.
Too soon?
Too soon. It'll never be not too soon. But anyways, let's get into our weekly roundup where we talk about what we've been up to and what we played since last time we talked. Chris, what have you been up to?
Well, since at the time all the new hype was around this strange no amulet... People were calling it a no amulet Titan deck. It wasn't really an amuletless amulet deck. It was just a Primeval Titan Field of the Dead deck.
Turns out those two are real good together. Peanut butter and jelly, if you will.
Yeah, it turns out really good land with creature that brings lands into play well together.
What a surprise.
So this was back in the day when Oko was still in the format. And... obviously, you played a number of Okos in this deck, but it's my first time ever playing it specifically. So I went 3-1 at FNM, played against Burn round 1. I never even Oko'd him out of the game, surprisingly. I think game 1, he just kind of... So he got me down really low. Like, I think it eventually got me to 1 life. And he had 2 or 3 turns where he needed to rip, like... So one turn he had to have specifically Burrow's Charm to kill me, and he didn't. And the next time he could have had any 2 burn spells would have killed me, but he didn't. So I kind of lucked out there.
Nice. Better lucky than good, right?
Yeah, as it turns out, he sacked 2 of the Sunbake Canyon, I believe. Is the red-white?
Yeah, that sounds right.
He cracked 2 of them on the same turn, trying to find that lethal Burrow's Charm when I was at 4 life. But when he cracked his second one, he went down to no mana. And the only card in his hand was what he drew off of the Sunbake Canyon, which was the Burrow's Charm.
Oh, he had no mana, so even a 1-drop wouldn't have done it there.
Yeah, so I was at 4 life, though. So had to be Burrow's Charm, but he found Burrow's Charm, but he had, too little mana.
Yeah.
So I get to untap and go up to 6. So then he needed Burrow's Charm plus any other burn spell, and he, off the top, drew a creature.
Rip.
Which does not get through a bunch of zombie tokens, let me tell you.
No, it does not.
Game 2, I got ran over.
Yeah, as Burn does.
My Burrow Gizzard got Searing Blazed, and
oof.
That was the end.
Reaching for the fire extinguisher.
Yeah, and then game 3 was pretty gross. I think I went turn 1 Radiant Fountain. Turn 2 Forest Explore Castle our into Grazer put in Bounce Land, pick up Radiant Fountain. So I turn 3, I get to play Radiant Fountain for the second time, and then activate Castle for Primeval Titan.
Stop! He's already dead.
So on turn 3, I'm still at 20 life, and I have a Primeval Titan with 2 zombies with fields. Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Round 2, I play against Dredge, and we didn't really play Magic at all, and not just because it's Dredge, but also because it's Dredge. But we both mulled to 5 both games.
Riveting.
But game 1, he just dredged literally nothing ever.
Sounds good for you.
So he had the turn 1 Shriekhorn, and he hit a Stinkweed. Went 5, Shriekhorn 2 more, Shriekhorn 2 more. Another Stinkweed, 5 more. Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. I mean, like, maybe there was like a Creeping Chill in there or something, but
no, nothing to get traction on the board, though. Yeah.
So eventually I, played enough lands and played a Titan and the game ended. And then game 2, it was kind of the same story, except now I had a Bajuka Bog in my deck. So
makes things a lot better, that's for sure.
Yeah. Round 3, I played against Infect. It was the Bant Infect with Teferi. And I kept kind of a slow hand, thinking that my opponent would be playing some sort of stupid Leonin Arbiter bullshit type of deck, which he's been known to play. And then he goes turn 1, Noble Hierarch. Uh-oh. I somehow managed to win game 1 because I elked his only Infector. And then I had enough Arboreal Grazers laying around to just throw in front of it until I had zombies, and then that was it.
Just throw him in front of the bus.
Although, he did minus his Teferi to pick up his Infector to replay it, to unelk it.
That's value.
But at the end of the day, it was still a Glistener Elf and just got, chumped all day long.
Hey, Grazer's great.
Game 2, he kills me on turn 2.
Nice. That's why you play Infect.
I think it was so I think it was turn 1 Glistener Elf, turn 2 Scale Up Double Mutagenic Growth.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, okay.
Delicious.
I did not have turn 1 Grazer. I fucking died.
That was so fun playing that deck when I was prepping for, I think it was GP Portland, year before last, I think, or something. God, yeah, playing against big mana and just fucking slapping him on turn 2 with Glistener Elf. Felt so good, especially against Tron, mono green Tron. Oh yeah, did good things to my soul. Chicken soup.
Yeah, it's if I had a turn 1 Grazer, then I could have had turn 2 Oko to try and elk his thing, but alas, I just did the big die.
At last you did the big die.
Game 3, I probably could have won if I had just played better.
Oof.
Opponent Beast Within one of my lands, which was very rude, because I had kept a hand that was a bit higher on interaction, a bit lower on land, and of course, playing a deck with 30 lands in, I never drew, I could have, wasn't drawing more lands very easily. So I had Vesuva to copy his Inkmoth Nexus. It was another defense mechanism or whatever, but the problem was I really needed my lands to cast spells. So I had attacked with the beast one too many times. So I would have had to animate and jump. So I'd elked his Glistener Elf. But he has tons of cards in hand. I'm not sure if I can survive if he just
does regular damage. Yeah.
And so he's attacking, and I'm well, okay, so if I animate with a Sync Moth and chump it, it won't even die because it's an elk. It's a 3/3. And then I'll be down a land, and then I'll have to chump it again next turn with my beast. And if I go land into I couldn't draw land, and Titan. So I felt I had to just take it, hope I didn't die, and then rip the Titan off the top because I had the land in my hand for 6 mana, and he just like, oh, become immense, palm spell, blah. From 16, you're dead.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, rip.
Man, become immense is hot in that deck.
So it's like, had I just, left my beast back one turn, use that to jump, and the following turn, I've had like an extra draw step, so maybe it would have been the difference. I don't know.
I don't know why I stopped playing Infect. I love that deck.
Because the deck's bad.
Yeah. But I mean, being bad doesn't stop me from playing a lot of decks, Chris.
It's probably because it's just the same thing every game.
Yeah, it's true. I do get really bored of it, I guess.
It's a very linear deck, and you either just get punished or you don't.
Yeah, I guess I just always think it's going to be really fun, and then I play it for a while, and I get really bored. Yeah. That's why I got bored of humans, too.
I mean, blowing up people is fun and all, but...
I guess I just don't get bored of playing Delver decks like in Legacy because like the cantrips keep it interesting and like the soft permission. And
Infect is one of those decks that when you lose with Infect, you didn't get to play the game, right?
I mean, it's a deck that is trying to avoid either player from playing very much Magic.
Yeah,
like you were trying to condense the amount of Magic being played into a very, very small amount.
I mean, it's not quite as bad as like Belcher.
Yeah, I mean, your goal is to kill on turn 2, so.
But it's similar in the sense of like when you lose, you didn't do anything at all.
Yeah. I mean, your ideal kill is on turn 2, so like that's just not a whole lot of Magic, period.
Yeah. Round 4, I honestly can't remember what my opponent was playing. I think it was a fair mid-range deck of some sort. Because I remember him playing his turn 1 spell, and I was like, oh, this is a very easy matchup for me.
Too fair.
But if you remember round for our opponent and I've forgotten what you're playing, sorry about that. But it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's rare for you to forget things, though.
Yeah, I do remember he... before the last round started, he told me that, he was a little bit newer to the store. And like, oh, did you want to split? I was like, I don't know what the etiquette is here. Do people normally split or whatever? And I was like, some people like to split, some people don't. I mean, it's kind of whatever. Like, if someone offers a split and you say no, it's like, no one really holds it against you. It's just, whatever. It's like, okay, so you want to split? I'm like, nah, let's just play.
No splits, kill them all. Yeah. Ah, man. Excellent.
Yeah, I did end up winning then, so lucky me, I guess. No punishment.
Nice. Yeah, man. Gotta have the fire. Nice splits, kill them all.
What? Jeskai fires?
Yeah, we should do a fires video on the YouTube channel. That deck is sweet.
I briefly considered trying to build the taking turns fires deck.
Oh, in Modern?
Yeah.
Yeah, that deck is also sweet.
Because Mystic Sanctuary is so stupid in that deck. What the hell?
It's really stupid in a lot of decks, man. But
it's like, usually putting card on top is not that good because you have to redraw it. Oh, look, it's my turn again. Oh, I drew a Time Warp. Oh,
again?
How'd that get there?
What a surprise!
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, look, 0 mana. I guess don't take another turn. Wow. Look at that.
Oh my god. It's a miracle.
Oh, Cryptic Command. I'm going to draw a card. Oh, bounce a 6. Oh, play.
The Miracle one exiles, actually, right?
Wow.
I think the Miracle one exiles itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To avoid exactly... WotC for once saw into the future, into a distant timeline, and realized that would be fucking busted. Holy shit.
And they're like, oh, with Nexus Fate, if it shuffles in, it can't be abused, right? That's where you're wrong, kiddo.
Shit. Can you do that? Is it a trigger or is it a replacement effect? I forget.
It's a replacement effect.
Okay, so you can't, like, in response...
It's if it would go to the graveyard from anywhere, shuffle it into your library instead. That's
like Emrakul Aeon's Torn versus Blightsteel, right? Like one's a trigger and one's a replacement effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blightsteel is a replacement, Emrakul is a trigger.
Trigger, yeah. They learned. A few sets later, they realized.
But Rip still stops both.
Yeah, but like cards like, what? Reanimate? Is Reanimate an instant?
Like Goryo's Vengeance.
Yeah,
Shallow Grave for all you Tin Fins people out there.
Yeah, instant speed reanimation is still really good with Emrakul.
Anyway, what have you been up to since we last talked, John?
Well, I've been getting fucking destroyed by decks with Hex Drinker in them. Apparently.
Was it you that was sitting next to? I did see someone get slapped by a Hex Drinker.
It was probably,
I think it was
you. 2 weeks ago. So I think it was round 1 of both weeks. I played against a Hex Drinker deck. It was Jund 1 week and then Naya the next. And like, yeah, I just like couldn't beat a Hex Drinker. It was just like, trading resources back and forth. And it's like, both a little bit, light on action. They're just like, oh, Hex Drinker. Pump. Pump. Yeah. Pump. Yeah. Fucking kill you. Like, yeah. Like,
because it's like, if it's protected from instants, you already can't kill it.
Yeah. Like, I have to block it with Codal, but they just don't attack. They just, like, I'll just wait a few more turns and feed some more mana.
Just wait 1 turn and they hit you for 6.
Yeah. So you have to have Dead of Winter for 6 at that point. Like, okay, good luck.
Yeah, and then there's like, oh, here's another Hex Drinker. Rip.
Yeah. So it demands like an
6
answer.
kills you pretty quick.
It demands like immediate answer. Like Hex Drinker resolves, gotta have the answer right there, which can be hard. So that's been a little frustrating. But yeah, I played 4C Control before Oko got banned, and then also after. Spent a lot of time like prepping post Oko. It's like, okay, I got my list figured out, like got my sideboard figured out, mapped it all out, made a sideboard plan, like really did my homework. I was like, I'm not gonna just like show up with like, oh, I took the 3 Okos out and threw 3 random cards in. I like really thought about like what I thought the good decks in the meta would be and like how I wanted to position myself in sideboard. Planned it all out and got fucking slapped at F. Got destroyed. I lost 3 of the rounds and I won 1 2-0 against Burn of all decks. Oko, who needs those? Don't need Oko. Just have your opponent mold a 5 game 1 and turn 2, turn 3, Collector Brutality for 3, and game 2.
Gross.
Got him. Yeah, I'm like over here with like no cards in hand. My opponent's got like, like a decent amount of cards left. I'm just like, they were like cards that did nothing. It was like, yeah. I'm over here at like 24 life or whatever. It's good. It's good shit. But yeah, so I didn't just play Modern though. I've played some other stuff too. I did our video for the Wargate Titan deck, which unfortunately Chris couldn't make it to, but that deck was sweet. I really enjoyed playing a kind of different deck. I don't really play big mana decks. I mean, we did a league together a while back with the Pioneer Field of the Dead deck, which honestly the Wargate Titan deck did have a lot of similarities to. And just like in like how you kind of like want to like, I don't know, your goal is to just make a bunch of zombies, right?
Yeah. I mean, notable differences being Primeval Titan.
Yeah. Titan was just like GG usually.
Yeah, you don't have to play shitty cards like Castle Lockdwain? No, not Lockdwain. What's the blue one?
Vantress. We were playing Castle Vantress, yeah. And so the deck was cool. Wargate was like way less sweet than I thought it was going to be. It was basically a 3 mana pull a card, like a land out of your deck, or like 4 mana get a 1 mana sideboard card. It was actually really good getting like Grafdigger's Cage post board against like I played against the green black Yawgmoth deck. Like Grafdigger's Cage destroys that deck. And then I had it also against Storm. And I think someone pointed out in the comments of the YouTube video, I actually lost a game I could have won because I didn't sideboard in Bajuka Bog. I just like
rookie mistake.
Yeah, just like not used to playing decks where you're like boarding lands in and outright, and so I just like missed it, and was like I had a chance where I like wargated and could have like actually gone and got a Bajuka Bog and like stayed ahead in that game and not lost and probably won because of that. So I went I think I went 3-2. I lost to the Storm deck and I lost to the Yawgmoth deck, and the Yawgmoth match was really close. I don't think I played optimally in like any of the matches. because I'm just not familiar with playing that kind of deck. So I think the Yawgmoth match, I think they got a little bit lucky in game 3, and I was just not playing great. So I think if I'd like played tight the whole time, I could have definitely won 4 and maybe even 5. That Storm one, is winnable, it sounds like. So I could have gone 5-0 if I'd played better. The deck was really sweet. So that was really cool, to like pick up a new type of deck that I'm not very familiar with and feel like I had a chance of going 5-0 if I just hadn't made quite so many mistakes. That's a really encouraging feeling.
Yeah, I guess I did take it for a spin in like the free room before I handed it off to Jon, just to see what it was all about. I get paired against Mono Red Prowess with Kiln Fiends, and I cannot believe that I won the matchup. Turns out Kiln Fiend is much worse as an elk.
Yeah, shocker.
Also, opponent never drew Crash through when they really needed to.
Yeah, the Richu boys kind of running defense for you there.
Yeah, and even like, when you dump a bunch of zombies in play, they still have one turn where they can just go big and still sneak in the last couple points of damage, and they just never found Crash through.
And man, I don't know dick about sports, but I'm gonna make a reference here. 49ers went to the Super Bowl, right? I believe that's what happened. They won last night. So you just get rid of the whole defensive, lineup and just bunch of fucking arboreal grazers. Got him. Unstoppable defense. That card is insane though. Like, I don't know. Like, it was kind of like showing up a little bit here and there, and then people started playing it, and then people started really playing it. And everyone was like, wow, this card's just like really good at keeping you alive. Like 0-3 reach for 1 that also ramps you is just like Steve wishes, right? Like, I mean, Steve pulls the land out of your deck.
Steve is good too, but like a Grazer can block
multiple times,
potentially more than once.
Yeah,
which is a big deal. Like, it's so good against like Infect, right? Yeah. You just like, attack you with my 1/1 Glister Drop, block, and they're like, do I waste a pump spell on a Boreal Grazer, or do I just time block myself for 3 turns?
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Like, if they have to burn a pumice spell on your Grazer, you got a lot of value out of that Grazer, right? Like, what is that, like a 3-for-1 basically? Like, for 1 mana? That's hot. Like, I guess not quite a 3-for-1 because they keep their Infector, but yeah, it's really
2 and change.
Yeah, pretty hot. Yeah, especially in a deck like Infect where like time is of the essence to like get out head on damage before your opponent can stabilize.
Yeah, and reach is like very relevant.
Yeah, it really is.
Inkmoth, no.
Yeah, just a lot of decks that are like sneaking in damage in the air, and Grazer just says no to that. But so yeah, I played the Titan deck. It was sweet. Teferi kind of underwhelmed too. I think part of it might be just me. Like, I don't know. I always feel like I don't feel like I played Teferi very well. I don't know. Every time I play the card, I'm like, man, I always feel like I make a mistake when I'm playing with Teferi, which is kind of weird. But I always feel like I'm like sequencing kind of poorly with him. So yeah, but
you got a Teferi minus on your Grazer to draw a land and then replay it with your Grazer.
Yeah. Big brain.
Or Teferi minus on your Primeval Titan.
Value.
But
I think the deck is actually still playable without Oko. I mean, Oko was obviously like really good, but I think in a post-Oko world, the deck is still playable. I don't know if we want to do like another video with it quite so soon after, but I don't know, maybe just for fun we can take it out and
okay. So I'll just say it now, so I don't have to talk about it later. As far as these like ramp Field of the Dead decks, like this, like the Wargate one or the Simic-Color one, I don't think they're real decks anymore without Oko. Straight up, I just don't think they're real decks because the whole point of playing those decks instead of Titan Shift was to have access to Oko, so you don't get fucking ranched by like the burn decks and stuff. Yeah. But now that you don't have that, it's like, why would you play it instead of right? Yeah. Valakut, because the Valakut decks are still playing Field of the Dead.
Yeah, you get everything. You get the Titans, you get the Fields, and you get the Valakuts.
Yeah, so you can kill them like immediately when Titan comes down or Escape Shift or something, but you still have Field of the Dead in case that's better.
Yeah, you pressure them in a lot of angles. Yeah,
and now with the new like Dryad guy, makes all your lands basically like the Prismatic Omen.
Yeah, Prismatic Omen Dryad.
Like, playing Valakut, you're even more incentivized to play Valakut. So I I don't really see a reason to play more of a blue-green slanted version.
No, I don't think there is much of a reason. I mean, I think it's still like you could run it through a league and do well, but yeah, I don't think there's like a reason to.
Yeah, sure. Like the deck is probably still okay and playable, but I think it's almost strictly worse than just Titan Shift.
Oh, I would totally agree. With that. I don't think there's much incentive. You don't get a better mana base. You don't get a faster kill.
Like I don't think having access to like Uro, the new Titan's like enough of a draw.
No,
to make it worth it.
And like you could play that in a shift deck if you really wanted to too. Like.
Yeah, so like you could alter your shift deck to have more lands. You could play grazers instead of like Search for Tomorrows if you wanted to or whatever. But I mean, yeah, I just don't see
the access to your like cheap sideboard cards was like a cool aspect of the Wargate deck. So like if you end up in a format where like Grafdigger's Cage is like really good, but like you could just play 4 Grafdigger's Cages or some ley lines in your Titan deck, like turn 4 is you're ramping, so maybe like turn 2, turn 3.
I don't know how you felt about the mana base, but I felt the mana base in the Bant version at least was pretty bad.
It was kind of awkward, yeah.
Like making sure you have turn 1 green for Grazer and then Bant on turn 2 or 3 for your Wargate, but you still have these stupid lands like Cavern of Souls and Radiant Fountain and bullshit. Like
Castle Garenbreg, which doesn't like cast Grazer on 1. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Or stuff like, Taloria West. Is that for your blue sort? Like, it's not the smoothest.
No.
I think Titan Shift really wins out there.
Yeah, I agree. But so I played that. That was fun. And then I put together a Legacy deck and a Pre-Modern deck again for bringing to FNM, and I jammed a bunch of games the last 2 weeks with those. Blue-Red Delver, man. Blue-Red Delver is a lot better than it was when I last played it. Brazen Borrower, like... So the Blue-Red Delver decks had a hell of a time against the Merit Lage decks before, right? Like the Dark Depths decks, just like they put a 2020 into play, and like main deck you didn't have an answer, right? You're like a blue-red. It
just becomes the Abyss until you're out of flyers and you die.
Yeah, like you're a counterburn deck. Like you didn't run main deck bounce. Like why would you? You needed sideboard Vapor Snag or Seal of Removal, I think it's called Seal of Removal. I played that sometimes just so you could like get prowess triggers and run it. You like run it out early. It's like how people play Seal of Fire and Mono Red Prowess. I was doing that like a long time ago, but with the blue seal for the same reasons. But Brazen Borrower is just good. Like it's just like kind of true name Nemesis, kind of like light. It does kind of some. It's like 3/1, like hard to block, but it also is a bounce spell. So. I jammed a ton of games against a green-white depths deck with like a Sylvan Reclaimer and Knight of the Royal Quarry, like that kind of thing. Sajuri Steep to like give protection. It was a sweet deck. So we jammed a bunch of games, like a ton of game ones, and I feel like I was favored game 1, and the person that was watching us commented the same, which was like really surprising. Like Blue Red Delver favored against this like. This land combo deck game 1. So you get to play like Wasteland and Blue Red now, and the deck's just kind of changed a lot. It feels like it's doing a lot of the stuff like the old Grixis Delver deck was, but with only 2 colors, which is really cool. And some people are still playing Grixis, so they get access to like the discard and sideboard Plague Engineer and stuff like that.
Therapy Pyromancer still seems really good.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are doing that, but yeah, it's always going to be like an option. It's such a powerful synergy. Yeah, super fun. I might have to like I might do a league with it for one of our videos, just because I felt like I slipped back into playing the deck like really competently very quickly. I was just like burning through my cantrips quickly, like felt really comfortable playing. I mean, I played the deck a lot previously, so I have a lot of experience with it. So I might start jamming it online again, get some reps in, and then do a video for you guys, because it's such a fun deck to play. The Dreadhorde Arcanist angle to the deck, just like you could do so much now in just blue red that you couldn't do before, where like you can play a card advantage game with Dreadhorde Arcanist. You can go wide if Pyromancer. You can get really aggressive with your Delver draws, and then you've got True Name Nemesis still for like an unblockable angle, so you can play kind of a chip shot game. And with your density of cantrips and having okay-ish for legacy removal, like you're really solid, I gotta imagine, against like everything except for I'm sure the Eldrazi decks are still problematic, and then I don't know about these new like snow decks. I heard on another, I forget which Legacy podcast it was. I feel bad. I can't remember which podcast it was. I wanted to plug them, but I listen to a Legacy podcast occasionally. Eternal Dirtles. I think it's Eternal Dirtles is the one. And they were talking a little bit about how like the matchup is like not super far off. Just because like I imagine that like, you know, the Snow deck is really good at like being a control deck, but Delver's always just had like a really good tempo plan, and they're like they're branching out into like playing more colors and stuff now, so like awkward stuff can happen like that with the Snow deck. Like what happens when you're like Arkham's Astrolabe gets dazed, right? Like suddenly like you have like very bad mana. So yeah, I'm hoping to do a little bit more Legacy content. We haven't really done much Legacy content for a while. I think mainly because I'm like the only one that really plays Legacy anymore since Chris has had his poor baby Elves put down.
I mean, with Renekton's gone, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm not really. I don't know if it's a good idea to go play Elves again just to get shit on by all these Underworld Reach decks.
Yeah. Man, I saw someone was playing like they're playing like a Maverick deck, and they're like, man, I sure am happy everyone's playing these Underworld Breach decks, and they had like a Deafening Silence in play, and like a Scavenging Ooze, and I think like a Thalia. Like, I was like, dear God, like Elves can't quite do that, but
no.
Yeah, like you play too many 1-drops yourself, but whew, yeah, it was sweet. So you could play something like that. It's like not really quite your favorite strategy though. But yeah, so then we did that. I played a little bit of pre-modern, played some Esper Control, 4 Exalted Angels, playing some Morphs for the first time in a long time. A little bit of discard, a little bit of counter magic, Impulse and Factor Fiction. Real good. Super fun. Really like that format. Would recommend checking it out. If you've never tried it, it's just proxy it up and find someone to play it with. It's really fun playing with the older cards. The spells are, really powerful. The creatures are pretty weak, but like still interesting. I feel like the older creatures, a lot of the designs are just like way more interesting because like they weren't packing as much like just like raw power into them back then, but like they just did cool things, and the format's kind of slower, so you can afford to play some of these more expensive creatures than you could in a format like Modern or Legacy. So it's fun. Would recommend pre-modern to people.
And Morphs, that reminded me of something I saw today about, I think it was like a Reddit post of convince me to play your pet deck.
Oh yeah.
And someone was brought up the Soul Herder deck.
Oh, I want to play that deck. That deck's sweet.
He's like, oh yeah, so what you can do is I play the red Morphachroma, and you just ephemerate it, and it comes back on the Achroma side, not as a morph.
Yeah. I used to do that in Death and Taxes like years ago in Modern. Yeah,
because you can like Flicker Wisp it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, so like no one expects to get beat down by a 8 mana red card out of the Bant deck.
Dude, nothing used to kill that card. Like back like when like Twin was a thing. Like no one played cards that killed the black. There was no like good black removal back then. Like people forget that like before Fatal Push, like black removal sucked ass. Like we didn't have Cast Down, we didn't have Fatal Push. Like we didn't have. People were playing like what's the one that doesn't kill like werewolves? Victim of the Night. Like that was like one of the better 2-mana black removal spells.
Although, John, I'll tell you, once the Achroma is no longer a morph, you can't kill it with Fatal Push or Cast Down.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it's impossible to kill. Like, it's pro white, pro blue. So you can't bounce it. You can't path it. It's way too big to kill with red removal. Like, it's just a big fucking beater.
And it hurts?
Yeah, it hurts. It really hurts. That card's sweet. I used to love playing that. People kind of picked up, they knew what I was doing after showing up a few times. They were like, oh, I gotta kill them more. Well, you're tapped out.
Yeah, it's a 6/6. And it has like fire breathing.
Yeah. It's because it's got Flample, right? Or
no. Well, yeah, it does have Flample.
Does it have haste?
No.
Not that it matters for a morph, but not usually at least. But yeah. So it's got Flample, fire breathing, and pro white and blue. 6/6.
Yeah, and the Bant deck isn't fire breathing it, but I mean
oh, that's hot. Yeah, they like go to kill it, and like they somehow find a way to kill it, and you just ephemerate it.
Yeah, just whoop. Actually, you can't because it's pro white.
Oh shit! That's funny. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Wow. Okay. They thought of everything. WotC strikes again, man.
See, old R&D, all the answers.
All the answers. They got it all figured out, man.
Balanced.
Looking into the future. It's definitely it. But yeah, so we've had some sweet decks. Did you play anything else since we last talked? Any different decks or anything? Any weird formats? Did you play EDH?
I did not.
People always talk about how much we love EDH because we played it that one time on an airplane. I'm still getting shit from people. Oh, it's his favorite format.
That was hella funny though.
John loves EDH. Yeah.
Playing any sort of Magic on a fucking airplane like tray table is
terrible.
Just
terrible.
It's funny but terrible.
Yeah. It's like deck box in the lap. I'll draw 2, like brainstorm. You like draw 3 cards out of your box. Like put 2 cards back in the box.
I'm gonna fetch, pull deck out of box to shuffle, put deck back inside. And like, graveyard also in box behind like the divider. Like, Snapcaster Mage. Let me just go. What's in my graveyard?
What a fucking shit show. And then the dice, like, better hope there's no turbulence. Or they like they tried to deliver drinks while we were playing, right? It's like, yeah. Fuck. I am thirsty, but my tokens, they take all the space up. Yeah.
And then like, where's the command zone? Also in the box somewhere.
Yeah, another divider behind the tokens. Ugh. Yeah, and there's like the divot where the cup holder is.
Yeah.
My dice for like my life total goes there, and the little divot.
It's like deck boxes just between legs beneath the tables. You like scoot. You like lean back to like fit in to draw your card.
Yeah, it was a fucking shit show. Yeah, well, that was a mistake. I don't know why we thought that'd be a good idea. Well, we can just play like fucking Modern or something. Did you imagine like playing Amulet though? Like,
yeah, I mean,
all your lands, like, you'd be looking through the deck way more. Like, like I'm gonna decline to search. I think I can kill you with what I already have, and I don't want to like pull my deck out.
It's like, can I just verbalize? Just like Amulet mental magic.
It sounds awful for the other person. You don't know how to play Amulet? Like, no, that's oof. Fuck that.
So you remember I had all these lands in play, right?
Yeah.
Do a quick name check for Field of the Dead.
Anyways, I think we can get into some of our main topics now. The big one is it's a little bit past. We got caught on, unfortunately. We've been really lucky with like the weeks things have been happening for a while now. It's always been the week we were recording, like on Monday. But unfortunately this time we were a week behind. Last week there was an update to the banned and restricted list. And we had some surprises and one not so much of a surprise.
I think we had one surprise, one not surprise at all, and one
what the fuck
semi-surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you line it up. So they banned Oko. Big surprise. Shocker. Not that I didn't see it coming. I am a little bit salty that that we still have Veil of Summer in the format.
I'm pretty sure we like talked about Oko the previous episode.
Yeah, we did. About how
like Oko is actually warping the format.
Yeah, and it was.
That's the sad truth.
Yeah. So Oko is gone. I got my my sweet. I think I have them right here. Oh yeah, I'll show the listeners. You can't see Chris. I got my altar sleeves in the mail the Friday of the banning. Got some nice altar sleeves for my Okos. They're like kind of like snowy full art extensions. They're super cool, and I'm never gonna get to fucking play with them in Modern now because the ban.
Never again.
They got eaten by customs for like a month. Didn't show up on time. They finally show up the Friday that the ban. Did it take place on the Friday? Or I know on Moto it was earlier, but I think for paper it took.
No, paper. It was the same time.
Was it the same? Okay,
Yeah,
but it was the first FNM I could have played with them. Gone. Yeah, so I got home, like already planned everything out. I was like, oh, put my non-Oko deck together. Fucking check the mail. Oh, my sleeves are here. Great. Awesome. Thanks. Thanks, US Customs. Thanks, WotC. Fuck both of you.
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama. Yeah. Yeah, I think they ship out of like the Netherlands or something. So they're cool though. I like them. They're quite nice. They line up well. The color's good. A little like shiny on the actual art of the card, but the altar art is like much more matte, which is kind of weird. So like you got like if you turn the card, you get like the kind of like the foil, not the foil, but like the sleeve shine or glare. You know what I'm talking about, right? The sleeve glare, but you just get it on like the original art underneath the altar, which is weird. So it's like my Oko himself is like shiny, but everything around him is not, which is kind of weird. But yeah, they're cool. Check them out. I think it's like altersleeves.com. Not showing here, just like honestly think they're pretty cool. I was excited to find out about them. They have a lot of like EDH stuff and some modern stuff. I think they've been like really catering to EDH players. They're like really pricey though. It's like €8 each shipped. Like all
pretty expensive.
All inclusive. International shipping is kind of a bear. So yeah, I'm like out €24 for my Oko sleeves. So that's sweet. But speaking of other people who are out a lot more money, Mox Opal also got banned. And this is one that people had expected it to be gone for a long time, and it never did go. And then right when no one was really expecting it, poof, gone, banned. Did you hear anyone talking about Opal like outside of like a whimsical fantasy type of context for this BNR update?
I mean, there was musings about it, because like Wizards stated what everyone else was already thinking, that once Oko's gone, Urza would become the de facto best deck again. Mm-hmm. So they had to do something to make Urza not the best deck. But I think more people were leaning towards them just getting rid of Urza altogether.
That's what I would have liked to see.
And not Mox Opal.
No, they did head off.
At the same time, Mox Opal, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Mox Opal's not that bad, it's fine.
The card's
like Faithless Looting, it's not a big deal. But Mox Opal is like, at the end of the day, fundamentally against what Wizards is trying to make the game about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, they hate vast mana, and they hate these like solitaire uninteractive combo decks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And whenever we find some obscene, stupid ass combo, it very frequently involves Mox Opal.
Yeah. I think it's like Sam Black said, like, we had Mox Opal like aggro decks, Mox Opal combo decks, Mox Opal control decks, and Mox Opal mid-range decks now. Like, we had it all with Mox Opal. It does it all. Like, it's not just a combo card. It's not just an aggro card. Like, Mox Opal is just good if you can find a shell that supports it. It's fast mana. Fast mana is super busted.
Yeah, and it's mana of any color. I mean, the card's pretty absurd. Urza's also very absurd, but
yeah,
I think we've all known Mox Opal's like pretty nuts for a long time.
Long time.
But
people kind of give it up.
I feel
like
everyone's kind of had this attachment, just like, oh, you know, Mox Opal is, it's like it's you know, one of the modern's defining cards.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't know. I know a few people that like really are sad to see Opal go, and the timing was kind of weird, but like that card's been just a problem in Modern for forever. Like, it's just so feel bad playing against fast mana. Like, remember how dumb it used to be playing against Affinity? Steven's not here, so we can talk shit, but like, remember how fucking bad it felt to just get slapped by Affinity when they just vomited their hand out. It was so busted. Like,
yeah, like when they just turn one like Arcabound Ravager or Steel Overseer and turn to Etch Champion.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, turn one Cranial Plating, turn to Etch Champion equip. Like,
he just fucking died sometimes, like really fast. And it was like all off the back of Opal Roe that make that happen. And like, you know, the format kind of, the power level of the format increased and left Affinity behind, but it didn't leave Opal behind. Opal just as a card is how it functioned, just like, you know, stayed attached to the format. Way. Yeah. I mean, it was just good. So, you know, Affinity didn't really, you know, keep up with the times, but Opal sure as hell did.
Springleaf Drum did not age as well as Moxel.
Yeah, exactly. So, and another thing is that they were kind of getting out in front a little bit of the these Underworld Breach decks. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but man, they looked miserable to play against.
Yeah, the Grinding Station Breach lists people were talking about.
Yeah, and if Legacy is any indication, man, Legacy has been overrun with Underworld Breach decks the last like week. I mean, part of it's just everyone wants to tinker with like the hot new card, but I don't know, man. Like that card's putting up a mess of 5-0s, and like these decks are just gross. Like I showed you the Delver one, right? And like
it's just like a Delver deck that happens to be playing this random Underworld Breach Brain Freeze.
With Infernal Tutors, like what? Like yeah, and the combo is quite compact. Like you're still like get to play like this aggro tempo deck that has a combo finish. Like that's always like red flag, like alarm bells going off. Like wait, like you can just like shove this package into like an already really powerful deck and like do all this other busted ass shit. Like that's concerning. So
yeah, and because of the way Underworld Breach works, like you can use any of the cards at any other point during the game, and they're still there, ready to go when you need to combo off. Yeah. It's not like in Splitter and Twin where you have these Splitter Twins that don't do dick, except for when they're, you know, winning the game. Like LED, you can LED Inferno Tutor for whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's probably Underworld Breach.
It's just card advantage late in the game too, and like a fair matchup. Like you can just breach and it resolves, and you can just like cast some dudes out of your yard or some cantrips.
Yeah,
and like you just like 2-for-1 or 3-for-1. Like that's really good.
It's like sorcery Snapcaster Mage almost.
Yeah, and right? Then it also just
replay this Delver, replay some, you know, Brainstorms or whatever, and then,
yeah, like obviously that doesn't sound super exciting in a format, but like Legacy, but like that's the failure case. Like that's when you don't combo kill them. That's like your plan B. Your plan B is just like being a really good value card. Like, that's yeah. So we'll see where these decks end up. I don't know. The format, you know, Legacy has a lot of ways to counteract this, and Modern does too. But I don't know. I'm glad we didn't really have to live with Opal, Grinding Station, Breach decks in Modern. I think the amount of like pruning that WotC has done on fast mana in Modern should hopefully help keep this in check. I mean, Mox Amber is still like a thing.
Yeah, but see,
you got to work harder for that.
Yeah, you need to have the thing that you want to use Amber to cast has to be in play.
So,
although Emery already has affinity for artifacts, so
Emery's really good with these kind of decks. Yeah, that's a card that. Yeah, that's man. I don't know how that. I mean, the card's not like crazy busted, but it just does a lot. It's like a really solid role player in a type of decks that didn't really need more solid role players. Like, like artifact combo decks. Like, definitely needed another like piece, like an even better Glint Nest Crane or whatever.
Yeah,
like people were playing that sometimes. It was like, it's okay. Like we play it because it does what we need it to do. It's like, fuck Glint Nest Crane, play Emery, get a card every turn if you have like the right conditions. Also costs 1 mana, also stocks your yard up. Like what the fuck. Anyways,
what 4 fucking toughness?
Yeah, I don't know. The card's gross. Anyways, we're obviously biased against artifact decks, so we'll move on a little bit from that. But yeah, suffice to say, Opal's banned. Modern will never be the same again as far as that goes. People are going to have to find other ways to power out their their cards. Mox Amber's going to have to pull a lot of slack. So I think that's definitely going to be a good thing. I think Urza is still very good. I think people are still kind of licking their wounds trying to figure out how to build the best Urza deck, but I think Grixis Urza is going to be back. It's going to be a really solid deck. And it'll be a little bit slower, which is good. So maybe it can maybe it has a home in the format that isn't oppressive. Just, being a little bit slower, a little bit less able to churn through its deck as quickly. But Urza is still a very powerful card. The last ban, kind of a strange one, although I can see their reasoning. It's a ban I don't think needed to happen, but it feels like a quality of life ban.
Yeah, I think the banning of Mycosynth Synthelatus was really not on anybody's radar.
I don't think anyone expected this. Like seriously. Like
I think people were talking about it when Karn was first brought into the format. Mm-hmm. Because like, oh, this is so dumb. Like, there's no one, you can't do anything about it. And came to find out that sure, it was good. Like it ends the game if you're ahead on board.
It's 10 mana
when the lock comes down, but it is a lot of mana, and the Karn has to be protected and all this kind of stuff. It's not just free value.
No, it is, however, a very compact win condition for a big mana deck.
Yeah. Like, one card in your sideboard was not a very big price to pay for having such a gross lock at your disposal. But at the same time, these Mycosynth Synthelatus Karn decks weren't taking over the format.
They were doing quite well, but they weren't taking over, yeah. But Eldrazi was doing quite well in the format, even with Oko and Urza. It was like, what, Death Shadow, Eldrazi, and then like Urza Oko decks were really kind of like, and then like what, Prowess, Mono-Red Prowess was kind of like the big decks.
Yeah, but I feel what Eldrazi has always been good when Chalice of the Void has been good.
That's true. I agree.
And with Death Shadow being good, Chalice of the Void is good.
Mm-hmm. And Prowess. And all the free artifacts in the Urza decks.
Yeah, and so I guess Oko is really good against Mycosynth Synthelatus, but big mana decks in general are good against Oko.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
So that's another reason you might be seeing more Karns there. But if you're trying to use Karn like as an interesting toolbox type of card, you still can.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the more I think the more interesting card was Allowed to Live, which is Karn. Karn without Mycosynth Synthelatus is definitely, and Mycosynth Synthelatus never gets played again if Karn gets banned. But without
it never
Lattice,
got played before.
Yeah, but with Lattice gone, Karn can still do cool things, which I think is good. I think that's fine. But the fact they even did it in the first place is surprising to me. It's nice, though. It wasn't very fun to play against.
The reasoning was just it's very unfun, which is true. Not being able to even tap lands for mana is pretty not fun. But if that's the sole reason, then does that mean I have to go and, fear for my hive minds?
It was basically stasis, right? It was like a stasis lock that happened immediately. That's an ancient design.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it was like just a stasis where they didn't have to wait for you to tap your lands. Yeah, I wonder. So I know they've been using a lot of like data from Modo in decision making. I wonder whether this one was just like, we don't think this is like fun, so we've gotten a lot of feedback on that, so we want to ban it. Or I wonder if there was like any like data pulled, like, oh, in games where Karn is played, it like gets like maybe percentages, like how often it like gets, and then like the game ends immediately from Mycosynth Synthelatus. I wonder if there was any like.
So is that like the metric for fun? So like just because I sit here and try and play out the Lantern Lock game, like does that mean I'm having fun?
Fun is so subjective, right? In a game like Magic, it's really hard to like
for some people, getting hive-minded is a funny event that they can tell their friends about. They don't really mind. And for some people, they're like, well, that's fucking stupid. That shouldn't be in the game. That's, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wonder if they had any metrics behind that. Or
it's like, Blood Moon is arguably also unfun.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's unfun. It's just people are trying to do things with their mana, and you're telling them no. It's like just inherently unfun, right? Not for the person playing it. Obviously, that's potentially quite fun. Although maybe not. Sometimes it is really boring to like. Some people don't enjoy putting the game into a state where no one's doing anything. That's not really like their idea of fun. But yeah. So it's gone. Goodbye. Not gonna miss it. That's for sure. Personally. It is nice now.
I will say, the Mox Opal ban is going to be the first card ban in Modern for a while that I haven't owned.
The other two, however, you had foils, right?
I did not have a foil lattice.
Oh, lucky you.
I do own a lattice, but not a foil one.
Yikes.
I was never really a believer in Carnulet.
Yeah. You had 3 foil Okos, though, right?
I did. Well, I still do, yes.
In the arms of an angel.
So now the question is, am I supposed to just offload them sometime or keep them for I don't know what?
Oh no, they're banned in Pioneer. Rip.
It's like I don't really see them being unbanned anytime soon, and
no.
I don't
you're gonna hold
see
out.
myself playing a legacy deck with Okos in them.
You're gonna hold out for like Jace the Mind Sculptor style unbanning like 5-10 years down the road. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, probably not happening. The good news is the foils haven't. They're about the same price as what I bought them for.
Probably
so.
a lot harder to sell though.
Yeah, I was thinking like, just dump them at the next GP I go to or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
could see that. EDH players probably still want them.
Yeah.
For now. Bum, bum, bum.
I don't imagine. I can't imagine.
It's so bad.
Commander.
It's gotta be so bad in Commander.
But if Primeval Titan's too good for Commander, who fucking knows? It wouldn't be another podcast on me bitching about how Primeval Titan's banned in EDH.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing.
Just let me play a Primeval Titan deck in EDH.
Yeah, I just don't understand why that's like too powerful. It only attacks one person at a time.
Yeah, right? And what? Now with Fiddle the Dead? Oh, no, we definitely can't unban an EDH. Oh.
So, there's been some big shakeups to Modern because of these bannings. Oko and Opal were pretty big role players in the format. Lattice a little bit less so, but definitely going to make all these E-Tron players take a step back and really have to redo their sideboards at the very least, which is huge, right? Like,
yeah, they'll have to put one different card in.
You think they still play Karn?
Yeah,
I guess that's fair.
If any deck doesn't care, well, it would still play Karn regardless of not having the lock name. I think it's E-Tron.
It is E-Tron. I agree. Yeah,
because being a deck without any colors, your sideboard options are so fucking bad.
That is true.
That losing all those slots to Karn is really not much of a cost compared to most other decks that we'd be playing it.
That's fair.
So I don't see them stopping to play it. Because, it can give you stuff like Game 1 Graph Triggers Cages or Needles or Instant Bridges or what have you.
Yeah.
Witchbane Orb. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. But as I was saying, there has been another big shakeup to Modern, and that is, and Pioneer. And that is a new set came out. Theros Beyond Death, which we were doing some spoilers on the last episode. It's out now. Snuck up on us. It's here. And we're seeing all sorts of interesting decks popping up in Pioneer and Modern. We've got some challenge results from this weekend, one for each format. Both have just like a slew of interesting decks. So I think we're going to talk about some of them. Do you want to start with Pioneer or Modern, Chris?
Maybe we just start with Modern, just because that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So also has the advantage of not having quite so many decks listed as untitled.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate for a lot of the Pioneer decks not really named yet. But so as always with the challenge results on Goldfish, we don't have the top 8 standings here. Apparently the top 8 results here. We just have standings at the end of round 7, which is weird, but whatever. Yeah, we don't really care who won. We care just general trends in the format, right? So the best performing deck was an Azorius control deck at 7-0. So it's back. Oko's gone. Blue-white is free to cut green again. I don't know. Looks pretty standard. Winds of Abandon, making it into the main deck, kind of cool. Main deck Timely Reinforcements, probably in anticipation of a lot of burn, mono red prowess, in that kind of uncertain period after a shake-up in a format. But I don't know, anything else you want to talk about? This one's kind of not super interesting, really.
Yeah, not too much excitement going on here. I mean, there's still a Baneslayer on the sideboard. There's still 2 Monastery Mentors. There's 1 Archmage Charm.
Yeah. It hasn't really been that long since Oko shook things up, right? I mean, it's one set, couple 3 months, something like that.
Yeah, Oko hasn't been here too long.
Yeah. Just kind of a reversion to the norm on that one. The next deck down, we got a 6-1, a Gruul Eldrazi. And, this is pretty similar to what we've been seeing. I mean, Gruul Eldrazi's been kind of a thing for a while now. But they did get a Bone Crusher Giant into the deck, which is kind of cool. I think that fits in perfectly for a deck like this, right? Having a flexible modal spell, but still got some beef to it. I think is exactly what the deck is interested in. Also, you can cascade into it with a Bloodbright Elf, which is pretty sweet. Putting, what is that, 7 power under the board for 4 mana is pretty good. I'll swap the view over here so people watching the YouTube video can see what we're looking at. They missed out on the blue-white deck, but I don't think that's such a big deal. But yeah, I like that they're playing. They're playing Once Upon a Time, kind of like how everyone is these days. If you're playing green, I think if you're playing green creature deck, you want Once Upon a Time. I think it's. Yeah. Do you think it's the most powerful card in Modern? I kind of think it's the most powerful card in Modern right now.
If people had problems with Ancient Stirrings being 1 mana, then 0 mana.
And a lot of these decks play both, right? Like Stirrings and Once. Like when you get those two together, man, your consistency is just unreal.
Yeah, not very many decks are playing both.
It's like Amulet, Tron, and I guess Eldrazi decks could do it. The Death Shadow decks get to cheat because they can play Traverse the Ulvenwald, which is another 1 mana tutor effect. Stirrings obviously isn't a tutor, but
there are actually some Amulet decks now that are just not playing Stirrings at all.
Oh wow, that's kind of crazy. Just like less air, more stuff.
Yeah, because Once Upon a Time finds lands too.
Yeah, it's just better basically.
Like you don't hit Amulet, but you hit creatures instead.
Isn't not hitting Amulet like kind of a big deal though? Or you just mull to it because of London Mulligan?
I think Amulet's a lot less necessary now.
What Field of the Dead?
Well, with Castle Garenbrig.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because you can still get your Titan out ahead of schedule pretty consistently with Castle.
Yeah, so like normally if you wanted, you can like churn through your Titans with like Grazer into Explore into Garenbrig, then you're there.
That makes sense.
No Amulet required.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so down here at 5 and 2, we have a list played by Canister of Amulet. So here's another
let's see here
amount of time of me talking about Amulet. But yeah, the most notable things is there's no Ancient Stirrings. Just playing 1 Uro, probably just trying it out, I guess. 3 of the new Dryad. And only 2 Azuses, which I think is a bit crazy.
It is a little light. Just like Dryad's just getting more of the slots, I guess.
Yeah, like
I feel
2
like
Azuses?
Isn't in a deck with... Oh, he's playing a Volakut, though. Okay.
Yeah, so there's 1 Volakut in the deck.
I was saying a deck without Volakut, I just think Azusa's just got to be better, but he is finding space for the 1 Volakut, so... Hanaware Battlements, wow. That's crazy.
And another thing to note is it's playing Hanaware Battlements and not Sunhome.
So
there's no Boros Garrison in the deck. Which means you're -1 bounce land, which means your amulets aren't as good anyway. And so playing additional lands every turn, like with your Azusa, isn't as good if you don't have as many bounce lands in your deck.
Because you just run out of lands much quicker.
Yeah. I mean, there's still, what, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's still 7 bounce lands and a Vesuva. It's only one less than, quote, normal. But, yeah, Cassandra Bottomans can give you haste. So people were talking about how with the Dryden play and an amulet, right? You can just go get Valakut plus Hanamar Battlements. And if those are your 5th, if that's like 5 lands, so you get to shoot them twice with Valakut, give it haste, attack, and then you can get like some other land, like Vesuva for Valakut, and then your Misty Rainforest, and just blow them up.
Huh. Isn't the Misty enter tapped?
But you have an amulet.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Right? So that's 6 from the Titan, 6 from the first, and then well no, so it's 6 from playing the Titan, 6 from attacking, and then 6 for each of the lands afterwards, plus the fetch. It's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. Yeah. Interesting.
So curious to see if Uro's actually good enough to play in that. Because the problem is the Amulet deck does not put a lot of cards in its graveyard.
Yeah, no, as someone, I was surprised about that because I played a lot of Drown in the Lock against Amulet, and it can be a struggle to get 6 mana or 6 cards in the yard for countering a Titan, and Uro needs
5 other cards.
5. So that's difficult, like,
especially when you're not playing Stirrings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't really see Uro being a mainstay of this deck. Probably just trying it out.
But it's really bad against
imagine
Path.
Overall, it's just not as good as like another Azusa or something.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like, you know, the decks where you'd want it to grind, right? Like against removal, against non-white removal. You just do Field of the Dead things instead, right? Like, it's just better because it also like is complementary to your Primeval Titan plan. I don't know. Yeah. It seems weird to me.
I mean, it's more of another Explorer than anything.
It's so bad though. 3 mana. I mean, it does draw a card and gain life, I guess, but like Explorer also.
It seems very medium. A very mediocre $30 card.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see where it goes.
But I haven't played with it yet, so what do I know?
Yeah, that's fair. Let's see what else we got going on in this event. Humans is back. Oh, this is the deck at 1. I think I actually saw Sultai for Life 1 with this one, I believe. This is a blue-black control list. Ooh, I'm excited, Chris. I love blue-black control decks and bug control decks.
Sorry, John. No Scarab Gods here.
I think there's another one, or maybe that. No, I think it's in Pioneer. I think there's 2. Also in Pioneer, there's 2 blue-black control lists that did well in the challenge, and I think they're each playing 1 Scarab God. So exciting. So I got a lot of sweet blue-black decks to look at this week. But this is committing the cardinal sin, the sin of playing Liliana the Veil and Jace the Mind Sculptor together, which people will always just bitterly complain about if you do. But I think that this particular list has compensated quite well for the fact that they're playing discard, counter magic, and Liliana and Jace together. So normally the issue is if you're playing a deck with like Logic Knots or Mana Leaks and you play a card like Liliana the Veil, you're like trying to empty hand everyone, but then your counter magic doesn't work when you do that, right? It doesn't help you get them empty handed faster. It's not any good when you're discarding it. Like discard is just better to complement that, right? But when your counter magic is stuff like Drown in the Lock, it's a little better because you can use it as like a Doomblade early, and Force Negation also actually lets you like shove your Walker, early. So like normal play pattern is like discard into Walker and like a Jund deck, right? Whereas in a control deck, you used to have to like go like wait longer, play your Planeswalker with control, like with counter magic up on like a later turn. Well, now you can just jam the Walker early, and still hold a Force of Negation and like have protection for your Planeswalker, which is pretty cool. So they get to kind of like have their cake and eat it too with the discard. You know, they can play like the discard Liliana play pattern. They can play the like wait with counter magic play pattern. They kind of get to do either. And then since some of their cards are more flexible than they used to be, they don't get punished as much for like trying to like get themselves empty-handed. Like they can still get value off their cards, which is kind of cool. Like their counter spells are more flexible because like the counters in this deck are Spell Snare, which comes down early, which is good. Drawn on the Walk, which is also a Doomblade. Force of Negation, which is free, and then Cryptic, which you can, you don't have to use it as a counter spell. You can get, you can get some value off of it doing something else. So,
I mean, also if you're plussing your Leon all day long, or Snapcaster Mages, flashback those spells you discarded.
Exactly. So, yeah, this deck's cool. Playing Damnation, man, haven't seen that card in a hot minute. 2 Damnation main deck. I like that.
You know what I really like about this deck, John?
You don't like or do like?
What I like.
What do you like?
The 4 Narsets along with 2 Garbage Sanitariums.
Yeah, that's another angle of attack that's really cool in this deck. Kind of going for the Narset lock. Just really pressuring the opponent in a lot of ways. This card, or this deck, I should say, has to be really sad to see Veil of Summer on the other side of the table, though, right? Like,
oh yeah,
ugh, yeah. So that's like my one misgiving about this deck is like, man, do you not want to play against Veil of Summer? I guess you can kind of like mitigate it by just like being so efficient, but ugh. Yeah.
I mean, the Liana Plus doesn't care about Veil, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't target. Or it does target, I'm sorry. Or no, it doesn't target. It's both players.
Does not.
Yeah, the minus targets, yes. So just run her on up instead of minusing her. I guess that's okay. You can also do stuff like you can minus her and then they veil, and then in response you can like, drown their guy or whatever. So or fatal push it.
So if we scroll down, this deck, it has some technology that I've been hearing whispers about as well. The Lightfield Titan Shift list.
Yeah, I saw this list earlier as well.
You'll notice there are 4 Flagstones of Trocaire here. Combos with your Elvish Reclaimers or your Spring Bloom Druid.
Spring Bloom Druid. That is an interesting one.
Yeah, it's Harrow stapled to a creature, which means you don't get blown out as badly with this card. Because if you Harrow, you sacrifice as part of the cost, and then they just counterspell your Harrow, and you just strip mine yourself. Spring Bloom Druid is an ETB, so if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
And it blocks. So, much better.
Interesting.
It's also a Bring to Lightscape Shift variant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for Dryad of the Ilzen Groves. Never play Prismatic Omen again.
Yeah, this deck's super interesting. I like how they still fit a Monwolvi Acid Moss in here.
Yeah, speed me up while slowing you down. What's not to like? I also enjoy this sideboard.
Oh, the sideboard is just amazing. 15 one-ofs. Mwah, always a winner in my book. And just...
Yeah, because you know what you really need sometimes? A Firebolt.
Yeah, what the fuck? So you want to kill their dude, but you also want to kill their dude again later.
Eventually.
The spell's so nice, you cast it twice.
It's like much better than the second Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Which there's also 1 of in the board.
Sometimes you gotta kill something that's got 3 toughness, I don't know. Or kill them. Lavinia is a sweet sideboard card. Malira, like, wow.
This card is hot.
Man, that card must just... Well, no, actually, it's not even good against the Undying deck, because they're +1/+1 counters. So she doesn't even counter the... ironically, she doesn't even counter the Yawgmoth deck. It's supposed to be like the anti-Phyrexian card, but like Yawgmoth just does her dirty. So it's kind of funny.
Anger of the Gods still gets the job done.
Oh, yeah. Madcap Experiment and Platinum Empyrean on the board, like just all over the place. This Chandra the Awakened Inferno makes me angry, man. This card's been popping up in sideboards more lately. Some control decks just like straight up can't beat this card. Like, play it, make an emblem, you lose. You just lose.
Yeah.
On the spot.
What are you gonna do? Attack down the 8 loyalty Chandra
and kill them before the emblem kills you? Like, good luck. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this card's a freaking beating against control. Probably decent against some mid-range decks too.
Yeah.
Big mid-range. Big slow mid-range.
Might be okay. Like it has other abilities too.
Yeah, it does. Let's see here. What else do we have kicking around? With some sort of strange. That was weird. Having a bug displaying this. This is just a E-Tron deck with 4 Once Upon a Times.
Oh, someone playing Neo Brand.
Mm-hmm. The Anafinza deck with it's like the Ballista Teliad deck. It's 6-1. It's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, see, so when you're playing your Eldrazi deck, you can't play Lattice anymore. You just play a Sky Sovereign console flagship.
Yeah, I saw that. Bring in the boat. Yeah. Sky Sovereign's a sweet card, dude. The battle boat. It's a 6/5.
It's big. It flies.
Yeah, shoots laser beams. It's an Inferno Titan boat.
Yeah, it's build your own Infernal Titan.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, I just imagine it like shooting laser beams out like Macross style or something, like, or Gundam style.
The imagery. So like the old like the Serum Powder Eldrazi deck would sometimes play Smuggler's Copter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, just like the imagery of Eldrazi piloting vehicles is always just
great,
really funny.
Yeah,
like their noodly appendages, like on the controls,
manipulating the levers. This
like flagship,
this like steampunk type like vehicle. Yeah.
Instead of like a Thought-Knot Seer, like me.
Like, I think my favorite mental imagery of vehicles has always been like the Rebel Master, like when you want to like save your goblins and just like fucking cram them into the copter. Like, get in here, it's safe in here.
Just a clown carve.
Yeah. You're like, oh, it's not time to attack yet. We need to like hold on to these goblins, but we don't want to like send them to their devs. Just like, get in the fucking get in the Eva Shinji. Like, oh shit.
But then, like, if you use say you just like, I don't know, you put your like Crucible of Worlds into play, right? And then you Karn plus it, and then your Crucible of Worlds starts driving the ship. Like, what's even happening?
It's like some Gurren Lagann type shit. It's exactly what that is. It's like robots piloting bigger robots, piloting still bigger robots.
Or like you could liquid metal coating your Karn and have Karn drive the boat.
That's fine. That's a flavor.
Actually, no,
win.
that doesn't work. He's not a creature.
Oh, fail.
You'd have to metal him and then plus himself. And then he can. Well, he still can't do it because he has no power, right? Yeah, cruise by power.
Oh.
Well, no, but he's a 4/4 because of. Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Got him. Flavor win.
Flavor win.
Didn't they print like a Weatherlight that's a vehicle in one of the like EDH supplemental sets?
Yeah, I think so.
So you can like turn your car into a creature and then like pilot it.
Pilot the Weatherlight.
That's hot. I like it. Oh man. That's gotta be a flavor win. Like building like a Weatherlight deck. You just like cram all of them into the Weatherlight to like crew it. Like Gerard here to say, just like start cramming all of the characters in.
Like, get in, bitch.
We're going on an adventure. Squee, get in here.
The fact that you can crew with like all your creatures is always really funny.
I said Squee, right? It was the other goblin, right? Or was it Squee? There's two goblins. There's like the Mirrodin goblin and like the Weatherlight goblin. Oh, it's Slowbad for Mirrodin, right? Yeah, it's Slowbad is the Mirrodin. Squee is the old goblin. Or the Weatherlight goblin. 10 out of 10 goblin knowledge. Anyways.
Oh, yeah. I just looked the Yawgmoth deck in Solid Dryad Arbor, which reminded me of a Pioneer deck.
Of course.
So except it wasn't a Pioneer deck. It was a Modern deck. So someone had played, what, it was like second place at an Open or something? SCG Open with Mono Green Devotion and Modern.
Okay.
With 4 Leyline of Abundance.
Yeah. I remember this. I know where you're going with this.
And they're playing the fucking like lab
Llanowar Tribe.
Like Llanowar Elf on a trench coat. Like the 3 mana 3/3 tap at 3.
Yeah.
Anyway, the cool thing I was realizing as looking through that deck list was Dryad Arbor works with the Leyline.
Makes extra mana.
Yeah, it's like it's a soul land with one of the Leylines in play.
That's hot.
Which is sweet.
I'm still hung up on the Llanowar Tribe. It's like a Vincent adult man from BoJack Horseman. The 3 fucking kids in the trench coat.
So speaking of Pioneer, but kind of not really Pioneer, but Pioneer. Yeah, it was one of the Pioneer Challenge.
Okay. It's not kind of Pioneer. It's definitely Pioneer.
No, like the deck I was referring to, it's not actually a Pioneer.
Oh, gotcha. So we're gonna talk about the first place, or the top of the standings list, right? Because this deck is a doozy.
This deck is a
work of art. It's something.
This deck is it's underwater.
It's Draft Chafe the musical.
It took a card that was unplayable.
It took more than one card that was unplayable. There's some fucking trash in this deck.
Yeah, but one I think is head and shoulders above the rest in terms of unfucking playable. Like even in a limited setting, like you look at like 15th pick guaranteed.
There's 2 cards I feel like that meet this criteria.
Well, one of them is Chronic Flooding. What's the other one?
Hidden Strings is really bad too. Sorcery Speed, 2 mana Twiddle with Cypher. But yeah, Chronic Flooding, people tried to make that
if
work
they were
at
both
least.
in the pack together, which would you take?
Hidden String.
Yeah.
Unless I was in a control deck, but yeah. Oof.
No. Chronic Flooding is fucking awful.
Dude, Chronic Flooding is like, what was that land that was in? I think it was also an RTR. It was like a black land, or a black enchantment for land that was like, you like ping them for 3 every time you tap the land, or what was that card?
It's Contaminated Ground?
Yeah, it's like that, but blue.
It's so bad.
Yeah. Oh, it's controller. Oh, never mind. I thought it milled. It's so bad.
It does mill.
Yeah, it mills you.
Kind of.
It's only one way. I totally thought it was target player. Oh no, it's terrible.
No!
It's even worse than I thought it was. Oof. Oof. Wow, this card's trash. Holy shit.
Do you have Chronic Flooding up on the screen?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. What a card.
Oh man.
What a card. So when I was in college, which is when RTR first came out. RTR only came out once. And it was during college, as many people do. But I remember talking about this card, or amongst other cards, with my like apartment mate, roommate, whatever, at the time. And this was on the cards of our like bitch list of like why does this exist? Like, why did we... Like, I think another one was, like, Survey the Wreckage.
Like, cards you were personally offended by, basically.
Yeah. So, like, the names of the cards were kind of, like, were entertaining.
Yeah.
The cards were so bad.
Yeah.
I think Survey the Wreckage was, like, 5 mana...
Destroys...
Demolish.
Yeah, it's, like, destroys a land. Yeah.
Like, destroy land or an artifact, I think.
Yeah.
4 and a red.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's like, yeah, so after you survey the wreckage, you find that there was some chronic flooding. Anyway. Now it's a mainstay in this 7-0 fucking Pioneer Challenge deck.
So I guess we should go over how the deck works, or at least how we can surmise the deck works.
Well, so, for the viewer, I guess we'll say for the listener, in case you're unaware of what this format-defining card Chronic Flooding does. It is 1 and a blue, and it enchants a land. And whenever the enchanted land becomes tapped, its controller mills 3 cards. Why would I want to do this, you may ask? Well, you know how we were talking about in Modern, there was going to be this really dumb grinding station Underworld Breach deck? And then you replay your Mox Opal, which is banned now, but you replay your Mox Opal to get a mana and then sacrifice it again, and you just exile the 3 cards you milled off of the grinding station? Well, tap a land, mill 3 cards, Underworld Breach. It's a combo.
And you can hidden strings to untap your land that has Chronic Flooding.
Yeah, so why would we want to untap a land? What good does that do us? Well, you see, when your one land you're untapping is a Lotus Field, even a shitty card like Hidden Strings is a ritual. Yeah, so when your one land is a Lotus Field, even your shitty ass Hidden Strings becomes a 1 mana plus 1 mana ritual. And if you have Chronic Flooding, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Now you just make blue, 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 until you go ahead and mill your whole goddamn deck. And then, oh look, Thassa's Oracle. And with Thassa's Oracle triggers, even if they kill all your permanents in response, if X is 0 and you have no cards in your graveyard in your library, you still win.
Got him.
Hashtag no counterplay.
This deck, I just want to go over the amount of stinkers on this deck real quick, because man, this deck is fucking full of them. This is like Draft Chase Central.
So 4 Chronic Flooding.
Number 1, I don't know, Chronic Flooding is terrible, but there's some stuff that's giving it a run for its money. 4 Hidden Strings. Card is just terrible. It's terrible. Yep. It's like overpriced twiddle. We've got, I didn't even know this card existed, 4 Wolf Willow Haven. It's 1 on a green enchant land. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional green. So just like, it's overpriced. Like, what, Wild Growth?
It's fertile ground that only makes green.
Yeah, that's right. But it has upside. It's got 4 and a green. Sacrifice it, create a 2/2 wolf creature token. Only at sorcery speeds. Why?
Yeah, I can't imagine you'd ever want to do this.
It's so fucking bad. Pour over the pages. I think it was a GP Sachs playmat.
I think so.
Yeah, it's 3 blue sorcery. Draw 3, untap 2 lands, then discard a card. At least this was like probably somewhat playable, like in limited. Like it's like effectively like 3 mana, draw 3, discard 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, at least like it's got Sylvan Scrying and Strategic Planning, which at least have like same play and Pioneer and Modern. So we'll give them that one. And it's got 4 Vizier of Tumbling Sands, which not very good. It's seen play in the Lotus Field decks in Modern, and that's probably about it, right? Did it ever see play in Standard?
I don't think they even play this card in the Modern version, do they?
They do sometimes. They
do, just because it draws a card.
It also can combo with Kiki Jiki. You like...
I mean, I guess.
You start like Kiki Jikiing off in the end step, I think, or something.
Oh, yeah, I guess that works.
And then kill them on your turn. Yeah, I think it was like basically a way for them to like have an enabler for the field, and then like post board they'd bring in the Kiki Jikis when the opponent took all their removal out, and then they would have like slow Kiki Jiki combo as another angle to attack.
Wow.
It was a thing people did. Yeah. I had this card played against me at PPTQ, I think. But yeah, this deck, suffice to say, is just a pile of trash, but together with Underworld Breach, it's pretty sweet. It's the main deck is like all 4 ofs too, except for there's like only 3 dig through times and 1 Thassa's Oracle to like together by their power combined to be a playset. Yeah.
Let's be honest, Thassa's Oracle, you don't really ever want to draw this card.
No. 7-0 in the Swiss. This, for the number of 4 ofs this deck has, it seems very rough draft, right? Like, this doesn't seem like finely tuned. So, excited to see where this goes.
I mean, maybe these really are just the best cards for the job.
Yeah, it could be. Pioneer is like not a very deep card pool, right? But I want to see.
Maybe Hidden Strings really is the best we have.
I want to see Ivan set loose on this deck and see what he can come up with. I'm sure there'd be some like batshit insane stuff in it, but that guy always seems to like break things. So I'm curious what his opinions are. Who knows? Maybe this is his account. maybe Ivan is Yu Yan, and instead of watching his kid on the weekend, he's crushing people in Pioneer challenges online with janky combo decks. Entirely plausible. Then what do we got? We got some Azorius Spirits decks. We've got a red-black mid-range deck, which is kind of cool, but nothing super new or interesting. Is it in Soul? Dealing with... let's see, what do they got? Is anything really changed here? Not really. Lost Smuggler's Copter, but the deck's pretty similar, despite all that. Mono Black Aggro. We've got Untitled. Ooh. Just a blue-white deck.
Blue-white control.
Yep. Nothing super interesting going on there. Oh, yes. The first of what will be many 5-color Niv-Mizzet decks. I have to like scroll to like get this all on the screen for the people watching on YouTube because there's so many freaking cards on this deck. Do you want to go over these, or like they're all kind of different?
Yeah, they'll have their own little sub-theme flavor going on. Like, how many Teferis do you play? What is your creature suite other than Niv-Mizzet?
There's at least 4 of these decks in the dump, right? Maybe more?
Yeah.
At least 4, I think. Like 4 5-color Niv-Mizzet decks, which is really interesting. 5-color Niv-Mizzet is a very good value deck. Man, like the deck just really, like, if you want to outvalue people, gold cards and Niv-Mizzet are real solid way to win the value game. So, it's really hard to look at one of these deck lists on paper and kind of get a feel for how it plays, because the mana in them is batshit insane in all of them.
Yeah, no Arkham's Astrolabe and Pioneers, so it's all just...
There's an unhealthy amount of tri-lands in these decks.
Yeah, they got some like temples, some tri-lands, 4 Fabled Passage, but only 5 like legal targets to fetch with them.
Cycling lands. Some of them are playing the cycling lands. Like, they're all over the place. So I guess the takeaway from this is that obviously 5-color Niv-Mizzet is pretty solid, considering that A, bunch of people chose to play it, and B, they did well enough to end up on the board. But there's also definitely not a consensus yet. It would be interesting to compare some of these deck lists side by side and see if there were any common, threads that people kind of agreed on, but I don't think we really have time for that right now. But I think Teferi Time Raveler is a 3 or a 4 of in almost all of them. I think that's something I noticed. And Bring to Light and Niv-Mizzet himself are kind of the backbones of the deck.
Yeah, so the 6-in-1 list, I think it's interesting, is they have a Suruk Dragonclaw.
Yeah.
And a Thought Distortion here, I'm assuming to try and combat like counterspell decks.
Mm-hmm.
But if that was what you were trying to do, you could just play Domri, right?
Yeah, it's cheaper.
And it ramps you 1 to your Niv-Mizzet as well. You +1, make a mana, and then the creature can't be countered.
Yeah, I don't know why they would do that. I'm sure there's a reason for it, right?
I mean, Suruk's fucking sweet.
I don't think people overlooked it, because it was seeing play in the modern ones originally, which I'm sure people were like at least inspired by. I doubt you like build this deck without looking at the modern version for some inspiration, right? Like if the creatures were good enough to play in the modern version, then they're probably, if they're legal in Pioneer, should probably be in your Pioneer version of the deck, would I think be a safe like litmus test. at least for like a starting point.
I just can't imagine you sit here and you're like, you know what my 15th card needs to be in my sideboard in Pioneer? Thought Distortion.
The card has been seeing play in sideboards here and there. Like, it's not like completely out of left field. Like, I've definitely heard people talking about Thought Distortion as a sideboard card. So it's not like they just reached into a bag and pulled that one out, I guess.
But like, I don't know.
It is weird, but I don't think it's just like completely out of left field, you know? Solar Blaze. I think one of the other versions was playing. We saw Solar Blaze somewhere else in this deck dump too.
Yeah, we saw Solar Blaze in the hottest deck on the list,
which we're not to yet. Let's see here. Do you want to move on to that one now? If we can find it again. Let's see.
I mean, Chunky Red is a pretty known archetype at this point.
Yeah.
Pioneer. Seems good. The 4-color Awakening Ascendancy.
Here we go.
2 main deck Solar Blaze.
This deck is sweet. This deck is really sweet.
It's like you could play Strategic Planning, Chronic Flooding, blah 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 with your Lotus Field to win the game, or you can play Jeskai Ascendancy and Sylvan Awakening.
Sylvan Awakening is just like I used to play like the Druid deck ages ago in Hearthstone. It just feels like that card, the one that like gave you a bunch of like filled your board of 2/2s or whatever. It's like what this feels like. Force of Nature, I think, or something is what it was called, or I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, so the sweet thing is you can like Sylvan Awakening gives your creature or lands indestructible. So you can like Sylvan Awakening, play some cantrips, play some cheap spells, pump, and then Solar Blaze.
Like clear the way.
To clear the way, all your lands still live because they're indestructible, and you just like slap them down. Yeah,
it is really cool though. Like you can clear the battlefield and like your guys untap from the Solar Blaze, so it can be like your last spell.
Yeah,
that's super hot. And your lands are just like fucking swole, like some thick ass trees.
Yeah, and you can't go off unless you have like 4 lands here. So
yeah, they're gonna be hefty. And you're gonna have 4 of them at least. Yeah,
it's like 4/4/4s is 16 damage.
Yeah, and they're probably more than 4/4s. Like Awakening is one of the spells. So yeah.
Well, the trigger has to happen before the creatures, right? So.
Oh, it's true. Yeah. So I guess you start on that, and you get 2/2s. But they start as 2/2s, so like
yeah, so you could literally just go like 1 mana spell to untap them, Solar Blaze, and bam, that's 16. 1 more spell is lethal.
Yeah, doesn't seem hard.
It's not very many spells.
No, they got Opt, Chart a Course, Is It Charm, Strategic Planning as like ways to kind of dig through the deck, and they've got the Young Pyromancer backup plan, which is cool.
And there's still 4 dig through times. Seems good.
Yeah. Yeah, the other deck only had 3. The Chronic Flooding deck only had 3. 4 dig through times. That is the appropriate number to play in your combo deck, I feel like. And then, if you're feeling like your opponent's getting down on you with the combo post board, you can just bring in some Gaea's Revenges. Got a pair of them.
Yeah, little head scratching on that. Like, oh, your opponent has too many counter spells to keep you down? Well, just play 7 lands and play Gaea's Revenge.
It's like, fuck thinking about a sideboard plan. Just shove some of these bad boys in. I know, it's hot. I like it.
And again, like 4 Tomb of the Aether, 3 basic lands.
Dude, this deck is so cheap online. It's like not even 41 ticks. Like we could easily do a league with this. Easily.
This is crazy cheap online. Holy crap.
It's pretty cheap in paper too, honestly. Like,
that's true.
Like, do you own Caryatids?
I do.
You own Jeskai Ascendancies, right?
I do.
I own Dig Through Times. I own Breeding Pools and Stomping. Yeah, it's just the mana.
How many Yami Viacos?
4.
Between the both of us, we have 4.
I used to play Bant Eldrazi.
Yeah, so what we have to splurge $2 on Sylvan Awakenings.
Yeah, and track down some fiery impulses. Actually, I think I have fiery impulses. Solar Blaze. We had to track down some like garbage common and uncommons, basically.
Yeah, how many fiery impulses do you have available?
I think I have a bunch of promo ones. I think there was a promo. That sounds right. But yeah.
Like, I don't own any strategic plannings.
I do because of is it Phoenix? I got all that stuff for it in Pioneer.
I don't know how many Aether Hubs I have. I have a few. I don't know if I have 4. I might have 3, 2.
But yeah, we could play with some paper.
Oh, sorry, dude. I don't have any guys' revenges.
Oh man, I guess I'll have to spend the 45 cents each to pick them up.
Rip.
Damn.
You know, I think I mentioned way back that I was waiting for a Just Guys Enzy deck to be like good or playable.
Here you go.
We have arrived.
We'll send that to ourselves for later.
I might need this later.
So yeah. Let's see, what other spice? We had a little bit more spice. We had some more Niv-Mizzet decks. Oh, we had the
Mono Blue Devotion is really cool.
Was that?
Mono Blue Devotion
list?
list.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. I think this list is nifty. So I think this is attributable to Aspiring Spike. I think this is one of his brews. It's Leyline of Anticipation, Mono Blue Devotion deck.
Yeah, so you remember how the Green Leyline was really got banned in Pioneer because of the Mono Green Devotion deck? Well, let's try again. Blue Leylines this time.
Again.
And Leyline of Anticipation is one of those cards where it's like, if you got to start every game with it in play, how fun is that game?
Pretty sweet.
Like, all your random bullshit has flash.
Yeah. You may cast spells as though they had flash. Nice.
Like, all the stupid things you can do. Just like, oh.
Like Death and Taxes
like,
eat your head
I'm
out,
going to
right?
attack you. Ah, instant speed. Thassa, God of the Sea, block. Ah.
Yeah. Or even just like Merfolk
Master
Trickster,
of Waves.
or, yeah.
End of your turn. Master of Waves for 1,000,000.
Yeah.
Untap, kill you.
Yeah, there's some powerful stuff this deck can do. There's some, was it Khalif, Beloved of the Sea? She's a cool new pickup for the deck.
Yeah. Beats.
Big
beats.
Big beats. And it gets a protection effect too, which is cool.
Yeah, it's like a mini Thalia attacks for stuff that targets it.
3 mana card with
all your creatures, actually.
2 pips. Gadwick is pretty sweet at instant speed too.
Yeah, he's like a Blue Sun Zenith.
With upside.
That's a creature. That also has text.
Doesn't shuffle
you
into
cast
the
a
deck.
blue spell, tap, target, non-land permanent opponent control.
Pretty solid. It's like, what, opposition? Bad opposition? Nah, not really. Not quite opposition, I guess. Opposition doesn't work.
It's like, what is it called? It's Glaring Sunlight. There's a green-white card from original Ravnica.
They used to play it in the Ghazi Glare deck, yeah. Glare of Subdual? Is that it?
It's something Glare.
I think it's Glare of Subdual. There used to be a deck called Ghazi Glare that was really powerful back in the day that played that. I'm recollecting. I didn't play really at the time.
Yeah, it's Glare of Subdual.
Yeah.
But that tapped artifacts or creatures. This is just non-land, so technically better. But you have the plastic blue spell, which coincidentally is all the spells in your deck.
Yeah. Yeah, you build up devotion pretty quick in this deck, that's for sure. Probably have some really gigantic Master of Waves.
Oh yeah.
Wizard's Retort also turned on by almost everything in the deck. We got what? Let's see here. Let's do a wizard check. Harbinger is a wizard. Merfolk Trickster is a wizard. Thassa's Oracle is a wizard. Brazen Borrower, not a wizard. Khalif, not a wizard. She is a demigod. But Gadwick is a wizard. Thassa is a god. Master of Waves is a wizard. So we're definitely more wizard than not wizard. We've got 3 gods, 3 demigods, and then 4 fairy rogues that are also technically instants. So
you have 10 non-wizards to 18 wizards?
Yeah, something like that. Pretty solid wizard ratio, really, for, puts counter spell in your deck, basically. Just quite nice. Get to play 4 Nykthos, because they didn't ban that card for some fucking reason. So you're going to have oodles of mana. And you got Castle of Antris to get some more leverage off your lands. So, pretty sweet. This is definitely a cool deck. Gets to beat down pretty hard, draw cards, counter stuff. Gets a thumbs up from me. Monocolor too, don't have to worry about mana base issues too much.
It's a mono blue deck that's not a Merfolk deck. 10 out of 10.
I mean, it is kind of a Merfolk deck. There's a lot of Merfolk in this deck.
Yes.
They don't really care about being Merfolk, but man,
this is a Nykthos deck.
Yeah, there's like, what, 14 Merfolk in this deck. It's a lot of Merfolk.
That's less than the number of wizards, therefore it's a wizard deck.
Okay, wizard tribal.
Yep.
Subclass and Merfolk. Subjob or whatever, it's subclass. So yeah, that deck's pretty sweet. And let's see what else we got. We got even more 5-color Niv Mizzet. We've got some rampy.
Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about. Finally, all the way down here, we found a Walking Ballista Heliod deck.
Ah, yes, the Spider Spaces deck. Or someone else.
Is that the player?
Yeah, Spider Space. 4/3. Spider Space.
No, there's a 5/2 by X-File.
Oh, sorry, Spider Space. You're getting bumped by someone slightly more winning than you.
Oh, these are very different looking decks.
They are. There's no Heliod in X-Files deck.
What?
Oh, there is. I'm sorry, I'm blind. There we go.
Nani?
We can talk about both. They're very different decks.
Yeah, so the X-File version has the do combo that everyone was talking about. It's a Hardened Scales deck. Very different than the typical Hardened Scales builds we've seen before. No, whatever the hell that serpent was called.
Stonecoil Serpent.
Yeah, so no Stonecoil Serpent. But still 4 Vivian Arcbow Ranger, which is why this card is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
4 Nissa Voices Zendikar, 4 Jadelight Ranger, 4 Voracious Hydras, Scavenging Uses, Llanowar Elves, Mystics, Ballistas, all that good stuff, and a Heliod. So the only white card in the deck is Heliod. So very light white splash. And then all the sideboard cards are white.
Well, all of them.
Almost all of them.
Yeah, 12 of them. It's quite a few. Dramoka's Command is a sweet sideboard card.
Yeah. Saxon Enchantment, put a counter on, buff your Hardened Scales, or fight something.
Solid. Devote Decree, good against the aggro decks.
Good against the chunky red deck.
Mm-hmm. Rest in Peace.
Exile anything.
Rest in Peace, very powerful. Like that one Anissa who shakes the world on the board.
Yeah, just in case.
You can play a little bit more like the old Devotion decks with it, if you need to. Brishkar. Yeah, Stick's cool. It's doing similar things to what decks like it in Pioneer have been doing up until now. Just with another little combo crammed in.
Yeah, it's a little bit more aggressively slanted than it is rampy.
Mm-hmm.
For most of these green Planeswalker decks, but
I do like that Jadelight Ranger can get like extra counters with Hardened Scales.
Yeah. So what? It explores twice, so potentially it could be a 6/5 for 3 mana.
Yeah,
it's pretty insane.
It's pretty hot. And then this other version by Spider Space is mono white. Spider Space, as a player, I've definitely seen a lot in modern leagues and challenges playing like Eldrazi and Taxes. I think sometimes I think it's usually base white decks. They're like, they're like Taxes decks, basically, like mono white Taxes decks. Sometimes I think like black white occasionally, but that kind of stuff. And they're playing mono white here. They're playing a Ballista Heliod deck as well. But they've got some interesting stuff kind of surrounding it. They kind of leaned into an enchantment sub-theme, And they're playing this card I'd never seen before called Arcanist Owl, which is 4 hybrid Azorius mana for a 3/3 flyer. It's an artifact creature bird. And when it ETBs, you look at top 4 of the library, and you can reveal an artifact or enchantment from among them and put it into your hand, and then you put the rest on the bottom in any order. So you get to like kind of like pseudo impulse attached to your 3/3 flyer for 4, which is like not too bad. And the enchantment and artifact count is actually really high. They've got Ballista, Alzayed of Life's Bounty, which is a 1 mana enchantment creature. It basically is just a crappy 1/1 lifelinker, but it has the ability to sack and give a creature enchantment pro color of your choice until end of turn. So it's like protection for your combo at 1 mana, which is pretty good. And the activation cost is quite cheap. It's got 4 Thraben Inspectors, which do not get grabbed off of Arcanist Owl. That's okay. It's just a good 1-drop. And a Finza Kentry Spirit, which is just another combo piece, I believe. That works, right? With, I guess it's not quite a combo piece. It's more like a combo supporting card. But then we've got 3 Daxos plus by the Sun, which is an enchantment creature. He's a demigod, one of the new cards from Theros Beyond Death. He's white for a 2-star. His toughness is equal to your devotion to white, and whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, you gain a life. We've got 4 Knight of the White Orchid, which has been around for a while. I won't read that one. Just a ramper. 4 Heliod, 4 the Owl, 1 Gideon Blackblade, which is just there for planeswalker-y goodness, I guess. 2 Mastery of the Unseen, which is a card from Fate Reforged, 1 and a white enchantment. Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. And it has 3 and a white. Manifest the top card of your library.
I look at this card, I'm kind of not really sure what the hell. It's like, why are we playing this card? And then you look over and realize it's a Nykthos deck.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty good having a random mana sink in your Nykthos deck.
Yeah.
You know, just make a bunch of tutus. Why not? Also, I really like the 4 Stasis Snare, 2 white pips for your Nykthos.
Quarantine Field kind of doing the same thing. One of those.
Yeah, and again, Quarantine Field good with tons of mana. Just exile everything.
Yeah, there's with the only card that isn't like full up on pips that's a creature is Heliod. Everything else is full up on pips. I guess Ballista. So the combo.
Yeah, Ballista.
Everything that isn't in the combo is offering full pips for its mana cost. And I guess Gideon is 2.
Yeah, we're talking about how like the Ballista combo to play it in 1 turn is very mana intensive. So if you play like you have to be a 2/2 Ballista. That's 4 mana plus 2 mana from the Heliod, 6 mana. But Nykthos makes that not so hard.
You can also do interesting stuff with Mastery of the Unseen, right? You can just like flip a bunch of cards, then you can be like, aha, I have the combo.
Yeah, but you can't. If you flip the Ballista,
it just dies.
Just dies.
Yeah.
But if you ideally Grange and put a counter on your manifested Ballista when you flip it, it will not die.
There you go. That's a combo.
Ah.
But you can be a little bit sneaky with, I guess, Heliod. It's kind of interesting. But Mastery of the Unseen is probably just a card advantage tool mainly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like random life gain in this deck. Seemingly random, which is really good with your Heliod. Just put counters on your idiots. Mm-hmm. Like, I would imagine just putting counters on your Owl is not bad.
Yeah.
Just this big flying beater.
Yeah, the Alzayed, Daxos gained life. Does Gideon have lifelink? Does not. Oh, it does, right? Yeah, it does. That's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a sweet deck. I wonder if this is Spider Space's list or something the community or someone else worked on.
I mean, you know, and you just Heliod, you give something lifelink with 2 mana. I mean,
yeah, it's a cool list. So kudos to whoever came up with this. If it was Spider Space or somebody else, I like it. Seems like exactly what Sam would like to play in Pioneer. I feel like seems like way up his alley.
Because it's white cards.
It's grindy
and
too.
Ballista.
Grindy white cards with a combo. Let's see. Below that, we've got another Heliod-ish deck. They just jammed it into a junk deck this time. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, just the one.
Kind of cool. They obviously already were in the market for Ballista, so they just jammed a Heliod in, because why not?
It's free real estate.
Well, they also play Traverse the Ulvenwald, right? That can, that fetches Heliod, does it not?
Yeah, Healed's a creature.
So, yeah, there you go. You don't really need more than one in your Traverse deck. So, that's pretty sweet. And then, it's like, oh, we're playing white because we have to, can't leave the value on the table for the combo, right? So 4 fucking Siege Rhinos since we're in white now. Get in my deck.
I mean, if you were playing green black and had to splash white, why not?
Yeah, why not? Get you some fucking Siege Rhinos. And I like the one white sideboard card combo console of allocation.
Yeah, because fuck you, Lotus Field deck.
Yeah, I think there's like definitely other reasons to play random white card. If you're on 4 white mana for Siege Rhino, I think you could maybe cram like a Rest in Peace. And, well, I guess you don't want that in your Ishkana deck, but your Ishkana Traverse deck.
Grim Flayer.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But I'm sure there's gonna be like other white cards that are like worth playing, right? But like, just Kumbal is like probably leaving a little bit on the table with the sideboard, but maybe they just want consistency.
Oh, Massacre Girl.
Yeah. It's like is it Gadwick or Lord Godfrey from Hearthstone? There's been a few cards recently that have come out in Magic that feel like very close to Hearthstone cards, which is kind of weird. I haven't really been playing Hearthstone in quite a while though, so I'm out of date on what's been in the newer sets. There's like a few Magic cards that have come out in the last like year or two that have been like kind of like older Hearthstone cards. Anyways, let's see. Anything else? Not really. No, anything else super exciting on this list. So it's okay. We're already getting close to 2 hours here. Anything else stand out to you that you wanted to talk about with Pioneer and Modern? Anything caught your eye?
Well, thanks a lot, Wizards, because you banned Feel the Dead. Now I have to play these degenerate Jeskai Ascendancy decks.
Oh, man.
You hate to see it happen.
So we're gonna have to do a video for next Friday. Not the Friday, or the next Friday for the listener. What are we gonna do? We're gonna do a Jack deck, Chris?
A what deck?
Jeskai Ascendancy combo.
Oh.
We're gonna do something else. What out of all these decks we talked about today really spoke to you?
I don't think we can afford an
No, I don't think so.
That's so expensive.
I think the rental account would not be able to do that.
Or we could even play probably the flooding deck.
The Chronic Flooding deck? Which, you think that's sweeter, or do you think the Ascendancy deck is sweeter? The Breach deck is doable too. The Flooding Breach deck, sorry, yeah. It's only like
the Breach deck is definitely like
the hottest fire.
It's the garbage burns brighter. I'll say that. Yeah. Oh, good news, John. I already own 4 Lotus Fields.
Oh, nice. Online or?
Yeah.
Why?
For the Blood Sun deck.
Oh my god. Talk about dead decks. Losing Karn. Oof. Oh, losing Karn had to hurt that deck, right?
I mean, Lattice, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, specifically Karn Lattice, yeah. I mean, we're not playing Karn without Lattice, I don't think, in that deck. I think you'd like do something else.
I think the deck has to completely turn a 180 and just play a lot of bigger, better creatures and Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
If the deck is to even hope to be relatively a meme.
We talked about the Blood Sun deck so much on this podcast, and I don't know why we talk about it so much. It's just like always in the back of our heads.
Because it's like
it's our like ugly
it's like
little
our
baby.
Stupid fucking napkin deck that like never really was.
Yeah, we got robbed. Unlike like Jeskai Dragons and Esper Dragons, which got their time in the sun, right?
Yeah, the Blood Sun deck. The sun was always setting on that deck.
I just like that we got to play Chameleon Colossus in that deck. Like the original draft was like everyone was playing Shadow, just like get you a Chameleon Colossus. One big boy.
Yeah, we're playing like Ballista Basilisk Collar combo.
Yeah, it's hot. Oh man. Anyways, moving away from, I guess, specifically that. Well, I think we want to do some Pioneer content though, because we've had people asking for a Pioneer video. So I think our next video is going to probably be Pioneer, and I think odds are pretty good right now. Looking at this, that it might be this Underworld Breach Chronic Flooding deck.
It'll probably be a combo deck.
Probably a combo deck. Yep, it'll be us trying to figure it out. But looking forward to the future for Pioneer specifically, we've got a first big crop of Pioneer GPs coming up. About a week out now, I want to say.
Oh yeah,
about a week out. So the first one,
2 in the same weekend.
Yeah, the first set is going to be January 30th and 31st, and they're going to be in Brussels and Nagoya. So we got a Europe one and we got a Japan one. So same weekend.
The Japanese love their batshit crazy off the wall decks.
And Frontier did really well in Japan. It was like one of the most popular places, I think, because Hari really, pushed it. So I think there's a large Pioneer built-in play base in Japan. So I think we're going to see some really cool shit at that tournament. Don't count Brussels out either. I think we'll see some cool stuff there. So that's excited. And then we get a week break, which is good. This is really interesting too, right? Because like they're going to have, there's going to be an event in Phoenix on February 6th. And so they get all the data from 2 GPs. Now, I think it's going to be really different. I don't think it's going to be the same at both.
Oh yeah, like New England and Brussels is probably very different flavors.
Yeah, I think the metas are going to be different, which is cool. I don't think there's going to be some decks that are going to show up above, like blue-white control and shit like that. But I do think that you look at the top 32 of each tournament, I think they're going to be really different. And then people are going to have to look at that and look at the online meta and figure out what the fuck they're going to do in Phoenix. And I think this triple threat with the week break is going to be really cool. And also, since the US one is the later one, a lot of the pro players are from the States or will come play in the States. So I think the density of pro players at the Phoenix one is going to be very high compared. I mean, the incentives to go play GPs are not as high as they used to be for pro players, but they're still there. And so, Japan is, they have a lot of good players there. They got a lot of good players in Asia, but like, I think it's safe to say that like a pretty big amount of the pro scene is centered in the US, and then Europe, I would say, is kind of the runner up in terms of like just sheer numbers of like players. Yeah, I think that's not trying to like put down the other regions. I think it's just like, A, the game is from the US, B, WotC really heavily markets to English language first and foremost. I think the players that do well in other parts of the world are like succeeding at much higher odds. But I think it's safe to say that the Phoenix one is going to pull more like star players. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these star players, together with more info at their fingertips, are going to choose to tackle the format. And so let's see our schedule for the podcast right now. I want to check real quick. So today is the 20th, and then the 17th, the 3rd. It's on the 6th. Are we recording on the 10th, I want to say? 3rd?
No, we're going to record on the 3rd and 17th.
That's a bummer. We're going to be a little
off weeks.
We're going to be a little off on the on talking about that one. We will, however, be able to talk about the Europe results and the Japan results. So we're definitely going to talk about that. We're going to get super hype about that for you guys. And then we're going to be a little bit late to the punch on how it all shook out with the Phoenix results. I keep wanting to say the Arena results, which is the one right afterwards, later in the month of February, that I think we're both going to try to go to. And we're not going to play Limited. No. We are going to do some side events, maybe even Pioneer ones. So that's super exciting. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're looking at. And you know what? We are going to be doing a video that week, because we're going to be doing videos, every other week now. So it'll be both of us or just one of us, but I'm sure we can talk a little bit about the results if there's anything, really crazy. So if you really want to hear our take on the tournament right after it happened, tune into our video. And I'm sure we'll be sharing how we feel if anything too exciting happened. But I think that kind of brings us down to the last part of our show. We're getting a little bit past the 2-hour mark now. So we're going to get into our deck of the week. What we're super excited about to play in our deck, or what deck we're super excited to play. Chris, what about you?
I would like to kind of get back into and put together some sort of stupid wilderness reclamation deck.
You always say that. I feel like you've said wilderness reclamation more than a few times.
So these decks used to all play Oko, and it was just, who cares? Oko's gone, whatever. I don't know. I've been playing all these like Field of the Dead type decks, and I just kind of feel like want to shake it up a little bit. But I don't want to play the Snow deck because deck sucks.
I think Bant Snow is well positioned, at least in the short term.
So I don't know. I don't know what sort of flavor of reclamation I want to try and force. I've always had these like illusions of grandeur about playing Small Teferi and getting to plus your Glittering Wish on the end step to do some big dumb stupid thing.
Well, that's hot. You could float mana and cast a Panglacial Worm in your end step.
Yeah, no wishes needed for that.
Oh man.
Or if Glittering Wish is too restrictive as to what you're wishing for, you could just play Fae of Wishes. Go get you whatever you want.
Yeah, man. You could play Fires too. But it's not very good.
Fires in your reclamation seems counterproductive.
Working in different directions on that one.
But yeah, just Nexus of Fate some kiddos.
I like it.
Can you imagine the stories if someone were to top 8 playing a Panglacial Worm in their deck?
Oh, he's so hot.
Like back in the day of like PPTQs or GPTs or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, and then he like end step cracked a fetch and played fucking Panglacial Worm, and then he took an extra turn and just attacked me with it 3 times and I died. Amazing.
I know. The dream is so real. I have quite a few copies of Panglacial Worm if you need them. Just hit me up.
Yeah, somehow I don't know if anyone will need more than 1 copy.
I think 1 is enough. Do you have one though? I thought you gave it back to me. Or was it Kevin?
I gave it back to you.
Yeah. We finished playing the deck and like both of you guys were like, here, take these fucking Panglacial Worms back. I don't want them. It's like,
I never even got a chance to play mine. I was so irritated about that.
Rip.
It just like never was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Oh well.
Surprising, I'm sure.
The format's reset, man. You can play it again. We can play Bant Pokemon at F&M.
Wild Pokemon.
A wild Pokemon appears.
Just think, but like Teferi wants you to play sorceries. So like, what's hot Bant colored sorceries can you Glittering Wish for on the end step and be insane? I don't know.
I'm sure they exist.
I mean, like Supreme Verge is like the easy one.
Wargate's a sorcery, right?
Jeez, how deep? Wishing for Wargate? Holy shit! And then you can Wargate for.
It's like a fucking flowchart, man. Like,
how would you even Wargate?
You just put 1 Wargate in this sideboard and run the other 3 main deck.
You can Wargate or something, and while you're Wargating, you can cast Panglacial Worm.
That's terrible. Even if you Wargated for a land, you wouldn't have the land you wouldn't have the land until after you needed to cast the Panglacial Worm. Wouldn't even you'd just be down 4 mana or whatever, 3 mana.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's like 3 mana to open the Stargate.
Man, Wargate. Jeez.
Oh shit.
I think I'd have trouble finding 4 Wargates by Friday.
Yeah, I fucking bet you would. I don't know, dude. When we were talking about the Panglacial Worm deck, a local judge just had a bunch of the cards. I didn't end up getting them from him, but he was like, "Oh yeah, I got 4 of these. Got 4 of those." Just like Panglacial Worms, he just had a playset. Why?
As you do.
As you do. Glittering Wishes had a playset. Why?
That's right. We all own a ton of glittering wishes now.
Yeah, I have a lot of glittering wishes. I think I have like 7.
Jeez. Anyway, what are you hyped for, John?
God, so I took such a beating with the 4-color snow deck. I'm still a believer. I'm gonna get back into it, but I've been wanting for a while to play a bug or 4-color shadow deck. I think Shadow with Veil of Summer is like really powerful, and Once Upon a Time, just like super consistent, super resilient, just very, very powerful. And I was like, I'm having so much fun with the 4-color snow deck. Like, I don't want to play anything else. And it's like, well, I finally had a place where it was like, fuck, man, I got beat down playing the deck. Maybe I can like okay with taking a week or 2 off. But I don't own Once Upon a Time. This is the big problem. I think you do, right, Chris? So it had to
4 foils.
It had to be a week when you like didn't want to play them. So if that ends up being a thing that happens, then I guess I could take Shadow out. But yeah, that's my like lofty goal would be to play a bug or 4-color Shadow. It's hard because like bug Shadow doesn't get the trample from like Royal Scions or it's evading me, the 2-mana red instant. TBR, yeah, Temur Battle Rage. So you just lose to some stuff that you would beat otherwise, like Field of the Dead tokens. A little bit difficult to beat without trample, so maybe I just give him flying somehow. What was that picture? It was like the card with the cat on it. Like,
there's a lot of
shitty cards that jump stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe there's one. Maybe I can find one. That's
I will award you something if you kill someone by giving your shadow flying with Lifted by the Clouds.
I don't even know what that card does. Lifted by the Clouds.
It's an arcane.
What? Why?
Because it's hilarious. There's like this spirit.
It's 3 mana.
It's just the spirit's just like on the cloud.
All right. We'll put it up for the YouTube people. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. It costs 3 mana, Chris. It's 2 and a blue. Splice onto arcane.
But look at this art. Look at this card. This guy's flying right now.
He's so excited.
He's flying.
What the fuck? This is definitely
what a card.
Yeah, this is the guy who did like Tooth and Nails art, I think. That reminds me of and I think he also was the guy that did what's the Eureka with Suspend?
Hypergenesis?
I'm pretty sure this is the same guy that did the art for Hypergenesis. And
he also did Chameleon Colossus.
Did he? Oh.
Ah, yes, and who could forget Elven Riders?
Anyways, way off topic. I think I need something that jumps my shadows that doesn't cost 3 mana. Just a hunch.
But imagine the satisfaction in killing your Eldrazi opponent with a Chalice on 1 in play with Lifted by the Clouds.
There's like a little tiny like city or something in the background. In the clouds.
It's called Bespin.
Bespin. Lando Calrissian. Oh my god. Anyways, what a fucking card. This is one of the worst like jumps I've ever seen. This is terrible. I can't believe.
Do you like how I just
knew
had
it?
that
You
one
just pulled
in
it.
the bank?
You just pulled it right out. Like it was in your pocket. Just
was ready. I'm surprised I don't have one on my desk right here to show you guys.
Holy fucking shit. I don't know if I could think of a worse card if I tried offhand without looking. I think if without actually seriously like doing some Googling, I don't think I could think of a worse card for that effect.
A worse jump.
A worse jump. I mean, I can think of worse cards. Chronic Flooding springs to mind. Springs a leak.
Spring to mind.
Yes. Holy shit. Anyways, we're way off topic. way off topic. I think that about wraps us up for the week. Thank you for checking us out and sticking around to the very end. If you're wondering where you can find more of our content, you can head on over to mtgconflux.com, We post all of our podcast episodes, our videos on there. That is definitely the place to head up first if you want to make sure you're getting everything from us. You can also find us on social media like Facebook and Twitter under the same name. All of our content gets pushed out to there as well. It's just links to the website. You can check out our video content, including the podcast that you're listening to right now, with video on YouTube. We're going to put out this podcast every other week, and on the off week, there is going to be a video of some sort of us playing on. I think it's going to be Magic Online, basically, always. No arena here.
Rainbow Six videos.
Rainbow Six, yeah, maybe we'll sneak a Rainbow Six video on. If you like watching Chris and I get bodied in shooters, get the whole gang on. Maybe we'll do that for like a sub reward or something at some point in the future. Anyways, you can support us and join the MTG Conflux community at patreon.com/MTG Conflux or by buying MTG Conflux shirts and swag on redbubble.com. Check out the links on our Facebook and Twitter pages. If you have any suggestions or comments, please reach out to us. We'd love to read them. I would love to do a mailbag episode at some point, so you got to email us for us to do the mailbag episode. You got to email us your thoughts, your questions. Send them to us. We get enough, we will do a mailbag episode. It'll be awesome. We could even do an audio mailbag episode maybe. So I would love to do something like that. So send them our way. Again, we really do appreciate you sticking around, and we hope you'll join us in the next one.